Blush is going to be first up. A little bit of rematch between my man Calvin while I'm trying to figure out the camera thing. Is Calvin backing up away from the guy playing into the void of racial, does not get to use it though. He sent out the voiding thing somewhere in distance, but doesn't really get any value out of it. Having to pop defenses immediately. There's a full dots are up. Blush goes in for full death break and everything. Calvin is melting right now in front of the man's eyes. Cheap shot blasts out with a massive burst of damage. That was just like conflagrations, immolation, and I think it was just like what the bonds of fell, right? Just turns it around for the Warlock. Gonna be a reset for Blush. Garrode right after. Not a lot of health available for the Warlock. Has some cheat death proccing, but incinerates and just burning right through that cheat death. Should be a decent bit of DR, but looks like Warlocks completely ignore it. Gonna be Jareem up next, trying to see if he can get himself an angle, unless he's given Calvin an opportunity to maybe get himself a reset. Over in Team 2, we got Screw Your Dots actually. Didn't they change it so Hunters can no longer remove dots, by the way? Only Fangs in that team. We got Holy Sai and Grifka as well, with Calvin on the front line. But Jareem trying to see if he can get himself a Ring of Fire around the angle. Chat, confirm for me if you didn't. Seriously, Feign Death no longer removes dots, does it? Because I remember that being true in PTR. I don't know if that ever made it into live though. I don't know if that made it into live. I wasn't quite sure. Not 100%. Mortal sent that to Jareem with a fear right after. Trying to see if he can establish a bonds of fell. Jareem breaking it, but looks like the shield holds on strong. Able to reduce a portion of the magic damage, that or dot damage while Arcane Barrier still holds. Calvin with a big defensive, dropping down Infernal Stone onto Jareem. Potentially big damage, trying to go for as many instant casts as possible. Jareem with portals open from every angle. Got himself in this, or at least create some damage reduction. But the man is just absolutely melting in front of our eyes. Calvin having to burn a Warlock Soulstone. Or soul, burn a soul together with a Hellstone just to give himself a lot of that recovery. But the instant cast and Jareem getting caught with the second miss. One cancel, second bolt right after. I think it's just over. Shadow Mills the second, but at least was able to survive a portion of the damage. Still not in a great spot, trying to go for Poly, but Calvin is ready to go. He just playing that brute force Warlock, walks him. Couple of big haymakers into Jareem, slams him with big heavy damage, and then just drops off trying to avoid it. Where Jareem is trying to play around mobility, Calvin is just trying to play with like the minimum movement, right? It's like he sees the guy casting, you're just gonna send the dots on him, drop off, just gotta stay away, AFK away from the guy, try not to even let him get set up with a single polymer for anything. Scatarina trying to get an angle versus Calvin. From one arcane mission to the next, Succubus catches immediately. Bonds are fell. You got some portals opening up as well. This is going to add a little bit of that consistent damage. More to call, letting Calvin recover a little bit of health. Stun right after. This is going to be yet another bolt to follow. Potentially, instant cast mad damage on the Catarina. Just turns that onto the arcade. Having to pop him in an ice block immediately. My goodness, Calvin, what are you doing to these boys? Just goes for like 2 casts and it's just over, man. My goodness. This is going to be Cat trying to avoid the Succubus. Going to be a Chaos Bolt. It's going to crack into those defenses. Bonds of fell with yet another Chaos Bolt from Portal. Does himself the ultimate time to at least recover some health, but immediately burns a portion of it. And Katarina trying to go for a little bit of that recovery. Calvin having to adjust. Does have a gateway kind of stuck towards the middle on the bridge area of the arena. And is trying to maybe to see if he can catch him with the Succubus. You see, no, doesn't catch it. Arcade Surge off of that Succubus for Cat. This is an opportunity. Actually, just focusing down the Succubus, trying to see if he can maybe take that potential off of the Succubus. Take the momentum, slap it onto Calvin. Mortal with a Bonzafell, almost breaking it. Got himself at least a Prismatic, so maybe can recover a little bit of health as long as he just lives long enough. Does get himself a little bit of recovery as the dampening slowly starts to creep up. Stun around the corner, but doesn't quite catch him. Calvin just hits a couple of globals. Katarina kind of lowish on health. Barrage is just slamming down, and the guy slowed him entirely. And Katarina looking to her position, at least also to recover health with a bit of the reversal. Trying to blast him as best he can. But Cat, Succubus CC, if he goes for a Cannibal, Incinerate might just do it. I think it's just over. Trying to go for a conflagration as Incinerate hits, just let his abilities collapse together for a big burst. It does end up draining the guy down with Kavi Boy up next. Calvin does have a wall back up. Immediate trinket for Calvin with immediate shield right after. Infernal coming back in very, very soon. Trying to go for a fear. Doesn't quite get to. Still holding on to a wall in case he needs to. Does finally go for a fear. Kavi Boy with full cooldown trinket right after. Incarnation already. Have some full defense in case he needs to. Full health back up for Calvin though, as the portals are back up into Kobe, trying to see if he can get himself a setup. Caught in the bonds of though. Lots of damage taken. Calvin is trying to go for Incinerates into a Skull Bash. Forward, actually no void operational available for Calvin, so even if he gets interrupted on fire, he's alright. Infernal down with a fear to follow. Got at least a lot of resources building up. One bolt into the second bolt. I think it's just over for Coffee Boy. I think it's just done. My goodness. Oh my god. Them Chaos Bolts. They did buff him, didn't they? I mean, the more I'm looking at Calvin play, The moment like, yeah, because it's above. Even Ratka can't even get himself a proper approach with a rain of fire. Drop it down right in the man's head. With a succubus approach from either left or right hand side. Does get himself a restyle before the succubus can find an angle. The man's at least got an Infernal, got himself a Wall Dark back to the ready too, so he got himself at least an opportunity to make some kind of a play versus the Rogue Shadow Step. If Radko is careful, if he can maybe catch Succubus or Smoke Bomb this, could seclude himself with Calvin, does go for the Trinket. That's going to be no more ways for the Rogue to get out of CC. Calvin establishes full control with a Mortal Call of Fear, Shadow Fury with a Bonds of Fel. Radko has a chance to maybe vanish or maybe escape. Cloak of Shadows trying to see if he can mitigate some of the damage taken. Calvin ready to go for a big gateway, no dots on him just yet. Radko's still doing all right for now. Succubus right behind him, so you be careful of the Succubus if it ever goes for Succubus CC. That's what we want to be really, really careful of. Because it could try to see if he can reposition. That's not where we want to be. When you see Succubus run away, that's Calvin controlling Succubus to let it back up and go for that CC just so he can keep you at a distance, just at our arm's reach. Got himself more ports as the man, I think, is ready to go for portal right back up, right? Radko not in a great spot. He has advantage. He has everything to work with. Kidney shot looking at Calvin. Now would be a good time to go for a full burst, trying to see if he can make a play. Maybe vanish instead, walls up for Calvin, goes in for cheap shot. Is this where you go for death mark potentially? Not even a death mark. The man is holding back for some reason. I think it just might be over either way though. Got himself a port. Radko just dead. Radko just dead. Are you kidding me? Got us a Dream over for the team 1. Coquetta waiting their turn. Is that you right here? Oh, is that the full set? Yo, that actually looks so good. That's a good looking set. We got Johnny going to be first up versus Cooper. I was going to say for a second, what are those ambushes? Is that just a straight up killing spree? This guy's just absolutely killing this man with a Cloak of Shadows right after him. Sunder for just a moment, got himself the Blade Rush, and it's going to be full burst for Johnny. He needs a little bit of damage, but I don't really know after that killing spree. Do you see how many strikes he did there? There's so many little hits of killing spree. Stun right after as Whack a Gnome trying to see if he could blast out Koopa, had himself advantage with a grapple hook so he could almost escape. Got a dots burning him down little by little. I'm liking this like party thing you got going on. The shoulders, the hat, the jacket thing, everything. Even the cloak got those rips. Even the pants got himself like a jacket kind of looking mog looking. Is that a pants or is that part of the cloak? Part of the chest. I'm not even sure. Got himself full this time. Went to whack him as he's gonna go for a full bleed. Cooper with a kidney shot, trying to see if he can maybe reset a full new killing spree at some point in the future. Going in for a little bit of damage, but he doesn't really have too much dots to get through, or at least bleeds compared to like Assassination Subtlety to get through the armor nearly as easily. Big grapple hook. Whack a Gnome, does he have a leap to reconnect though? He doesn't. So for the rogue, it may be an opportunity to get himself a reset unless he's got bleeds writing down. Whack a Gnome does at least have himself a little bit of survivability, a little bit of defense. Cooper rolling for a buffs. I don't think he's got the craziest buffs or anything. Cooper does go in for a vanish with an ambush grapple hook after. Backing up does have himself a charge, but not close enough to catch up to Cooper. Blaze him to maybe give himself a little bit more survivability. Cooper, I don't know if he got himself an evasion or not. May need an evasion. Definitely will need a trinket for the next stun. If he wants to have a go, gotta be a disarm onto the warrior. Kidney shot right after. Does have a bleed, rotten down. Main Cloak of Shadows after it. There goes a full kill spree again, but just goes in for a big old execute at the end. With the blind at the end though too. Okay, that was confusing. To me, it looked like the blind after that killing spree shouldn't have landed, but I guess it did. Whack at him, trying to see if he can catch up a little bit of health off of Grifka. Stunned right after. Grifka trick is just to go for like, what is it, a backstab at the end? Just a front stab. Plus does keep on top of Grifka to make sure he gets the sap as soon as the guy gets out of combat. Into a cheap shot. It's going to be a very DR. Plus with a Cloak of Shadows does go for a tricky. Grifka trying to go for a bit of shadow step to see if he can get away from the guy. But the dots and the slows are going to keep him completely slow to just... I don't even know what kind of slowdown was this time. What was that? Massive secret technique to turn around to Plush though with a full cheap... Didn't even get a chance. Oh no, Plush didn't even get a chance. It looked like Plush was actually getting himself some kind of a setup. He had some massive slow on the guy for just a short second or two. And then Grifka just turn around immediately. I guess as soon as you... Do you even know how to use a trinket? Sapus Coquetta tried to see if he could catch up to the rogue. Doesn't quite land next to the guy. Should hopefully be able to find him if you use a Spectral Sight potentially. And it looks like this guy did get himself a full new set of gear, so maybe we'll stand by over chance compared to some of these other rogues. What was that damage? I blinded straight out of the killing spree. That's what it was? Okay, because it looked like... What is it? There was a killing spree, there was the execute, there was the blind. I'm surprised the execute went through then. I guess it just says execute is like an animation that kind of cannot really be cancelled out. Full burst on Grifka with a start off of the hunt, does go for the blind to look for the reset. If Coquetta is fast enough, she'd be able to get on top of Grifka. Does somehow catch up to him. I don't even see you fall rush. Looks like you're just teleporting instead of fall rushing specifically. But maybe if he has himself some kind of dot, does get to catch up on Grifka. Look for Shadow Step, doesn't get to do whatsoever. Does Grifka have any dots on him though? Looks like he does. Summon definitely keep him in combat. Someone to Coquetta could go for a trinket in case he wanted to. Gorbal's right for Grifka. Does do a little bit of damage. Second to take to fall off that cheap trick. Coquetta might be in trouble. Oh! Just a full setup. He had a trinket, but I think he was just kind of waiting. Like, okay, that was the biggest burst of the rogue. Can't get worse than this. It's gonna be okay. I'm gonna be fine. And then the Viscera comes out at the end, lands that crit, which is so perfect. Jareem should hopefully be able to take down Grifka here fairly easily, unless Grifka finds an escape right now. Sap around the corner. Why is it touching the Magi with a Nether Tempest barraging him? And the man still caught a reset? You gotta be kidding me. Jareem was just like a global 2 away from taking down Grifka. Does get to AoE him out. Should be able to get maybe some kind of dot on the guy or something. As long as you get maybe a right angle blink with another Tempest, you might be okay. Arcane Orb doesn't quite connect. The Arcane Explosion doesn't either. And Jareem did pick up the eyes, but he just, I guess, didn't really see the Grifka kind of around the bend at all. That may, either he just like paying attention to the other far side. He did pick up the eyes though, right? He definitely did. Grifka with a sap, full first aid right after. Jareem technically I think still has a chance here. Grifka is not actually that behind. I was thinking it was a lot more behind. I know he doesn't have a trinket. It definitely is not a 14-day cooldown, but I don't really know what cooldown he does get. A trinket gouge by accident? Oh, is that what happened? I was gonna say, I thought Plush you just had it. I thought Plush honestly you had the entire duel in the bag, and then it's like, wait, you just turned around in the stun. I thought you were good. The UI is pretty bad at tracking stuns though, to be honest. Jareem, I don't even know if he had to trinket at all. I don't even know if he had to do that. Wait, whoa! You got like the OG mug. The OG, what is it? The starter gear. Is that what it is? It is! That actually looks so good. Wow, I gotta go back and get the sets, honestly. Shadow Strike out of Grifka does go for the step right as he's mid-knock. Trying to go for a kick on Jareem. Doesn't quite connect. Perfect opportunity for Jareem to maybe make some kind of play, but a shadow mode, or a vanish rather, out of Grifka does have himself a second vanish in case he needs to. So he could get kind of aggressive here. All he has is Jareem to deal with. This is going to be another Tempest onto the Rogue with a touch of the magic. Grifka trying to see if he can maybe buy himself a bit of time, gouge with a blind right after just rotating CC. Waiting out for the ult time more than anything. Knockback out of the mage yet again. Trying to go for Nova into Grifka. Does get disarmed. Doesn't really do anything for him. It is going to be a kick. No cloak available. Does go for advantage. Trying to see if he can maybe commit a bit more damage. It's going to be shooting power out of Jareem. Does get interrupted there though. And Grifka just needs a little bit. That shadow sip with an eviscerate taking him out. How many was that for Grifka? 4? Okay, dude. Okay, dude. We gotta go again, man. We gotta go again. We can't just let a rogue run amok like that, dude. Blip didn't even get a chance to play. You gotta give my homie at least an opportunity here.